Ah, precious, beautiful fire. I love it so much. People will always question me, saying, Red Panda, why do you like fire so much? Or, why did you burn my village to the ground, you monster? It's beautiful, it's pretty. And you know what I love more than a fire? A good old roast. So people send me in more games. So we're gonna roast even more of them because you deserve it, because your chess games suck. Corn Kernel Chess at 2172 versus Blindone 2224 from AT and the white flag, that must be France. Okay, a4 d5, the Scandinavian, which is just like, I mean, it's fine. You guys have so many opinions on openings that just do not matter. You drag the queen out, you score a bunch of development tempi, but so you're still gonna lose to it, so but here, okay, Korn plays c4, which imagine needing a gambit against the Scandinavian. What is this? Okay, so look, it makes a lot of sense if you're forced to take on c4. Now you drag this piece out and you get a lot of central play. I mean, of course, black is going to play e5 and life goes on. E c5 is good too. One of these two moves. I don't particularly care which one. But of course, you take on e4, yeah, and now what? F3. How do you judge if a gambit is effective? Your opponent needs to gain two things. One is a lead in development, which you get here. Knight takes back. The other one is central control. So let's say after knight f6, you get pawn d4. So here white gets dominant central control and the lead in development. But okay, development is actually roughly equal. But let's say after a move like c5, just contest in the center, knight c3, you move our knight out. Actually, that's a horrible move. We might have to play something like e6 because black still has to contest the center. White eventually gets a lead in development from that. So this type of gambit, you have compensation for sure. I don't know exactly what the critical way of playing is. My guess would be c5. Now very likely white can still play there and you end up in this sort of symmetrical English-esque position. Yeah, that seems good enough to me. I would probably play c5 here. What does the engine recommend? e5 anyway. Right, okay, that is very clever. Yeah, this pawn is not acceptable because of queen h4. Wow, yeah, that is really nice. But instead the game followed knight f6. We play d4 anyway. Okay, so this makes no sense at all. If you're gonna gambit material, what do you want out of it? You want dominant central control and you want the lead in development. After d4 and en passant, and let's say we take back, we have no dominant central control because black can immediately play e5. And we do not have a lead in development. Both sides have one piece out at the moment. And we've deprived this knight of a natural development square. So you're playing horrible no good chess and you should feel ashamed because this is just horrible and no good. By the way, I have permission to roast these guys, okay? So like, pawn d4, and what do we play? Okay, horrible. No, just take. Dude, this is not hard to evaluate. You just have nothing. Bishop f5, because we're scared. Okay, knight c3, pawn e6. Here we play... Okay, we develop our bishop. That makes a lot of sense. Now they're playing sensible chess again. This is just normal. And knight e2 just allows the capture. And this is the most awkward time that you could possibly capture. Either we need to move our knight, which makes some sense, or we need to take back and damage our kinside pawn structure. Yeah, I understand going for knight g3. The engine absolutely hates it. So I don't think it's taken on g2. I think that helps our opponent a little bit too much, because white's problem is that they can't castle. So if we're dragging our bishop here, I think white is pretty good. That being said, I don't think taking the rook is a threat, so I don't think black needs to address that. I think black can just castle. Oh, that was actually played. So it needs to be something else. Yeah, so an idea you could go for, you could drop the pawn to f2. Though there might be some tactical patterns with knight c6, knight e5 coming up. See, I'm trying to tear this diagonal open after f2. But maybe c5 is the move then? Yeah, I don't really know. Maybe we just castle and carry on. And now we take on g2. Okay, short. So immediately it might not be a mistake because we're grabbing a pawn. But taking the rook is definitely too dangerous. Okay, and we take the rook. It seems really dangerous. Why are you playing like this? You absolute madman. It isn't okay. Okay, queen takes, of course. So, of course, we castle into the attack. Oh, I don't know. Maybe we can try and castle queenside anyway? Yeah, we can just take on c3 immediately. Yeah, this skin is just very unsafe. It's just... So we castle into the attack because we're deranged. Bishop h3 makes a lot of sense. This is now a focal point. The square on which mate can be delivered. White needs to take care of this point. Yeah, and that's the way to do it while saving the exchange. To be fair, at this point, it might not be the worst idea to give the exchange back for the light square bishop. But I understand the decision. This is a strong move. Wow. We gotta save the exchange. I mean, if we don't, we're worse. So we must save the exchange. h6, yeah, because this bishop is the defender of this square. Okay, I mean, dropping it here back also traps the bishop, but although we are attacking, if we're attacking, moves like h6 are a bit strange. So we're controlling a lot of squares around the king. So does knight e5 work now? Yeah, knight e5 just works. So, okay, you can't take because of mate, right? Like bishop check. What a pretty mate, by the way. So, okay, knight e5. The knight can't be taken. Also, its destination is lethal because that's just a windmill. Knight lands on f3. Like, this is just a windmill. You can check, take, back here, check here, back here. It's just not, this is just not okay. Okay, so instead we see h6. Bishop f4. Iffy. Now we've abandoned this square. So we go rook c8. Is there anything wrong with this? Nothing wrong with it. Okay, so now we have the same thing. Yeah, and it was found. So we have the exact same tactic, but this time, like, a bishop goes to the square. So you don't even have to sack a knight. Oh, wow. Okay, this is game over. Will we take back? Yeah, mate. Just bishop c5. Yeah, why give checkmate? Why would you give checkmate when we can just win a pawn instead? That makes so much sense. Okay, mate. Okay, what? This is a clown show. Look for checks. You have so many pieces around the king. Why don't you look for a check? What is this nonsense? Now we're taking away this square. That was really nicely found by Korn. This guy loves sacking exchanges and winning pawns. That's all he does. He hates giving checkmate. Okay, now we're apparently dead lost. It seems natural. Oh, there's something here, isn't there? No, it's not. Yeah, no, it's not. I see that the bishop is heading, right? But then I also see this immediately after. We can't take because of the pin. It looks weird to take the bishop. Oh, wow, the engine just says. And how about this move? Because if knight takes, we take... Oh, and now we get the knight in here. We bring the queen into f6, which looks scary. There's actually no check to give, and the pawn is protected. Well spotted, by the way. Black still has a mate in attack. Yeah, it's just game over. Instead of taking the rook, we take the knight. Are we afraid? Because you should not be afraid in this position. Okay, whatever. Okay, now it's just mate on g2. Which, I mean, yeah, why give checkmate when you can give check? Yeah, of course. Why give checkmate when we can give a check? Okay, but now it's still mate. Okay, we repeat. Yeesh. This game almost gave me an aneurysm. This was so bad. Can I game review it? This was so poorly played. This should be like 60% accuracy at most. Wow, a 4-day streak. Oh boy. The next game, Inferno wins 1995 versus ARVQZX 1995. Oh wow, the elos are identical. So this game should end in a draw, of course. Okay, a4, e5, knight f3, knight c6. Yep. Okay, Italian is complicated. Lots of weird move orders. Knight to f6. Pawn a3 is a very unprincipled move. Okay, I mean, the typical move here is c3, right? And we're just slowly building for d4. So pawn a3 doesn't make a lot of sense. So we're not developing, we're not controlling the center. Instead, we're pushing a random pawn for no reason. Also, this bishop is not really that liable to getting trapped. Like, after pawn c3, knight a5, that's just b4. Take. Knight can go here. Now you have trouble moving your d pawn because of the check. Plus this pawn here is heading. Yeah, so knight a5 isn't a threat. So you don't need to make an escape square. Either put a knight on c3, get your king castled, or play the normal pawn to c3. Pawn a6 gets played. That move actually makes a lot more sense comparatively. Let's say pawn c3, d6, castles, right? A very common theoretical move here is the move a6. And the whole point being, let's say we continue in a very standard way with knight to d2. We want to drop our bishop back immediately. So we are losing some time. White, however, also needs to lose time to bring the knight to g3. But eventually what we want to do, we want d4 to not come with tempo. And we want to keep our bishop on this nice diagonal. Very often you actually want white to commit to the pin. So you can play h6 and g5. a6 also serves as a waiting move, because the other sort of more natural move here is castles. Okay, so the pin still isn't like the best move, but now h6 and g5 is a bit more dubious. I don't think the sack works though. I don't think the sack works. a6, yeah, logical move. The main alternative that would be tempting to me is if your opponent does nothing to develop and nothing to play in the center, would be opening the center up. That would be my alternative move. Mostly because, like, after c3, that is not a thing. because I think there's this very annoying queen b3 move, adding more pressure to the diagonal. Okay, but let's see. a6 is still very sensible. So knight d2. So very often it's played anyway, but we should really castle our king. On d6 still. I'd be tempted to break with d5. But okay, I mean, d6, it's just a different type of game. So yeah, pawn b4. I mean, okay, it sort of harms your position. Like these pawn moves, very often they're done by players because they don't know what to do and they want to just make a move. They do harm your position. They weaken diagonals. They extend your pawns in ways that are maybe liable to get undermined. There's of course a pin on the a file. And they make it so that squares are unprotected. Here it isn't that bad. It is just a little bit pointless. So we are now bringing a knight back. And this is a very common maneuver in the Italian. But our king is still uncastled. d5 immediately. Okay, so knight e7. Our opponent is doing some real delicate little knight dance, right? Hopping the pony around on the board. There are positions that are delicate, that you need to handle with care. The opening is never delicate. If our opponent is treating the opening with delicate little precision, we want to grab a sledgehammer. Now knight to e7 into g6 is a common maneuver in the Italian. There is just no need to do this right now. Okay, knight g3, knight g6. Yeah, so bishop g5 I don't like, because it just provokes h6. We can't keep the pin. So now we go back. So this bishop, I understand not wanting to put it on b2, because this bishop is more effective on this diagonal. But provoking h6 is such a weird decision to make. Okay, bishop g5, pawn h6. I don't know why we're provoking this. It's about -1. Let me think. Okay, we could play c6, prepare a central break. Yeah, the computer sees something that I don't. Let me check with the computer. Bishop g4. Okay, let me undo that so I can figure it out myself. Okay, bishop g4, pawn h3. So we kind of have to take, right? Queen takes. What's the move? Oh, wow. Yeah, sorry. This is not a tactical pattern that I was like aware of. Because most of the time the opponent would have hassled by move 11 in the Italian. So h3, we take. Knight h4 is a fork. Queen e2, knight g2, king f1, knight f4, I think. Okay, I was wrong at the end. So this is what I calculated up to, and I thought knight f4 takes, and then this knight moves in, and we castle. We're just losing. Oh, massive attack. Oh, I'm so bad at chess. Do I mind that they didn't see that? No. Rook e8. The alternative. Like, okay, so if d5, pawn takes, knight takes, queen b3, knight f4. Yeah, so if you take here, the knight is hanging and we're opening the e-file. This kind of play I really like right now, actually. Yeah, so here you might just have to castle. Alternative, again, we can play c6. Like, short d5. So, of course, white plays queen b3, a move that doesn't immediately make a lot of sense. Yeah, so I'm thinking, oh, there's a tactic. There's a fun little tactic. Okay, black to move. There's here pawn to d5. This traps the bishop. So here we need to take with the bishop. Takes. I really want to play e4. I don't think it works. Ah! The very easy have bishop g4 now, right? Castles, we just chop. Okay, bishop e6 instead. I mean, logical. So now we chop. Yeah, so queen takes. Okay, makes sense. We're connecting the rooks. Pawn h3, that's just a nothing move. Okay, d5. Okay, I love that we're playing in the center now. Yeah, I like it. Just fully in support. Count it. 2 attackers, 2 defenders. So rook d8. So f6 is a horrible move. Wait, why does the engine like it? No, the engine does not like f6. There we go. I would have disagreed with Stockfish so hard if it told me that f6 was correct, because f6 is not the move. How is white going to keep adding pressure to this pawn? We go rook d8 and then what? d4 we just take. Okay, pawn a4. Of course, we see that our opponent is weakening the entire position, so we expand on the queen side. Very positional play. Yes, very positional. This opponent is so delicate. I feel like he thinks the chess pieces are his grandmother. That he's just too frightened to move them too hard. Oh, I need to delicately maneuver. Grab queenside space. My man, your opponent played f6. Use a sledgehammer. Bash their brain in. This makes no sense. King h7. Okay, the engine doesn't like it. I think this move makes sense. This is kind of a course correction. It does invite queen e4, which is a little bit awkward because we get this pawn up. And pushing the pawn is like something you'd want to do against this structure. Because if we control the g6 square, there are a lot of maiden patterns. However, it's kind of complicated. because queen e4 might become liable to some sort of f5. Yeah, so I actually don't mind starting with h4 here. Because, like, I think if you go queen e4, which the opponent played, maybe there's, like, rook f8, pawn h4, pawn f5. So I think that is a bit complicated. Queen e4 is the correct idea. I think you should start here, though. So that now if our opponent makes a pass, now queen e4, rook f8, pawn h5. And we don't have time to play f5 because we take the knight with checks. So rook f8 is actually brilliant by Inferno over here. Maybe you need to switch gears entirely and play knight f5. That is also definitely a way to play it. Knight e7, h4. Yeah, h4 now is just a bad move. Now we get to play f5. Yeah, and here it doesn't surprise me that black stands a little bit better. More central control. We also have targets in the position. Queen e2, rook d8. Yeah, bringing all our pieces. Beautiful. Pawn h5. I mean, it makes sense. The knight is going to hop into f4 anyway, though. So we do want to take. Yeah. Okay, we move the queen. Logical. Something you need to realize, this knight isn't actually defended because the queen also guards f2. If you make a pass move, I just take. And this is just mate. So we take, which seems natural. We take back. Pawn c5. Okay, I'm a bit more tempted by, like, which rook? Let's say this rook. Man, this game is crazy. Like, okay, so you have to play queen f3 here. I'm just gonna move on. c5 was played instead. Take, bishop b6. Yeah, I mean, it makes some sense. I still would have preferred rook e8 because it's very complicated. The engine sees that everything is a draw, but it's complicated. Queen c6. Yeah, okay, so now we have, like, blocked the bishop out. But here we have to go back, yeah. So we go back. Bishop a5, that's just a knight fork. Yeah, very good. Yeah, we win the pawn. This position is just really good. Yeah, so now we're just dead lost. We have a 3-on-1. Black also has a pawn maturity, but this isn't going anywhere. Also, the king is quite weak here, which in a heavy piece endgame, the side with the weaker king very often will lose. Okay, so d7. Nice move. Yeah. Sack that pawn. Okay, so queen g6 first makes sense. So this threatens mate, so we defend that. Now we go here. Oh, this is so lethal. Rook e8, we trade. Yeah, I can imagine not wanting to go into this endgame, because evaluating that this endgame is, like, better than grabbing the pawn is, like... So what is the move? You can't really coordinate against the king here. Oh, I see it. I see it. It's c5. So the queen can't take because it's mate. Very simple. And if the pawn takes, we play b6. And that's just game over. So I think here, probably rook e8 is slightly more precise. And then we push. You do need to evaluate that black here has nothing. This pawn here makes it so that this check is quite ineffective. So if we go here, the pawn here is protected. We don't have any more checks. Yeah, so we just win. Not the easiest move to spot. Okay. I mean, this is practically, like, probably a really good way of playing it anyway. Pawn f3 is really smart. Wow. Oh, you have, like, one source of counterplay and you, like, just go for it. I love that. I know the engine says +4. This is so dangerous. It is actually so dangerous. Yes, because g3 just loses on the spot. So what do you do here? Wow. Maybe just queen e7. So I don't have time to take the pawn because of queen takes rook. Let's say rook g8. Yeah, and now we can take the pawn. Yeah, so this is the way you play it. Queen e7. Not a super hard move to find, but still I really like f3. Yeah, we immediately go wrong. What is this game? Oh, wow. Yeah, queen. Oh, wow. It's just mate. So queen h3 is necessary. So you take the pawn. Yep. Okay, queen check. I'm just going to let the master do it. Wow. We under promote. Yeah, because you promote it to a queen, you get mated. So what's the mate in 2? By the way, probably just queen check here and mate, right? But I really love under promotion. That is so funny. This defends the checkmate, so it makes sense. Yeah, now we can just go for it. Oh, that's just mate. Oh, wow. Oh, what a game. So that will be all for today. If you like this video, YouTube thinks you'll like this one. I worked very hard on it. Maybe give it a watch. And I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.